Jinil was born a witch, but in her world, that title once meant something honorable. Witches were healers and helpers, trusted by common folk for remedies and blessings. But everything changed when the crown, fearing the power of magic and the influence of women, banned witchcraft and ordered all witches rounded up and imprisoned. Only women were targeted, while wizards and sorcerers went free. Midwives, healers, and successful women were all accused of witchcraft, and many were executed or left to rot in dungeons. When the order came, Jinil's mother knew she had to protect her daughter. She surrendered young Jinil to her brother, a farmer who had no connection to magic. He agreed to take the girl out of the city and keep her safe. But on the long wagon ride to the farm, one of Jinil's cousins grew angry and hostile. He accused her of being a witch, and, without warning, pushed her off the wagon. Jinil hit her head and was knocked unconscious. Her uncle, unaware she had fallen, continued on without her. Jinil woke hours later, lost and alone in the dark forest, with no shelter and wild animals howling around her. She used the magic her mother had taught her to survive. She cast a simple light spell and found a hollow tree to hide in. The next morning she was discovered by a group of lumberjacks, led by a kind foreman named Harrison. Instead of harming her, Harrison offered her a place at the logging camp. He brought her to Marguerite, an older woman who ran the camp's kitchen. Marguerite, it turned out, was also a witch, and she took Jinil under her wing. Jinil quickly learned that Marguerite was a master of chaos magic, a rare and dangerous form of witchcraft that broke all the rules. Using mirror spells, Marguerite could project copies of herself to do work in the kitchen. And she promised to teach Jinil everything she knew. The young witch was eager to learn, and she threw herself into her training. She also discovered that witches could speak to animals, and she soon made friends with Marcus, a blue jay who agreed to be her scout, and later with Garrick, a wolf she freed from a trap. Using her healing magic, she mended the wolf's broken leg, but something unexpected happened. The healing enhanced him, making him larger and stronger, and he became bonded to her. Garrick was now her companion and protector. Jinil also met Ruki, a magnificent black dragon with silver scales and spikes. Ruki was fleeing from dragon hunters and had come to the forest seeking refuge. He had a broken tooth that caused him great pain, and Jinil agreed to heal it. The healing caused the old tooth to fall out, and a new one to grow in its place. Ruki was so grateful that he gave her the fallen tooth as a gift. Jinil later discovered that the tooth was a powerful totem that could amplify magical abilities with it. She could cast spells that had once been impossible. Life at the logging camp was peaceful for many months. Jinil trained with Marguerite, practiced her spells on Ruki, and grew closer to Garrick. Harrison even built a saddle for the wolf so Jinil could ride him through the forest. But peace could not last. One morning, Marcus flew into Jinil's room in a panic. Soldiers were marching toward the camp. 200 royal guards, sent to arrest any witches they found. Jinil packed her belongings, grabbed the dragon tooth and Marguerite's spellbook, and fled through the back door. She met Garrick at the river, and together they raced into the forest. Ruki arrived just in time to rescue them. He scooped up Garrick with his talons, let Jinil climb onto his back, and flew them away from the approaching soldiers. Before they left, Ruki breathed fire into the forest, creating a wall of flames that blocked the soldiers' path. Marguerite sacrificed herself to buy Jinil time, surrendering to the general so that the loggers would not be harmed. Ruki flew for hours, carrying the young witch and her wolf across mountains and lakes. They rested briefly, and Jinil used her magic to energize the food she had packed, giving Ruki the strength to continue. By nightfall, they had reached a remote valley, far from the kingdom that hunted her. The next morning, Ruki flew them to an abandoned house he had discovered on his travels. The house was dusty and full of cobwebs, but Janelle was determined to make it her home. She used the dragon tooth to create mirror copies of herself, and together they cleaned the house from top to bottom in a single day. Ruki found a nearby nesting spot, and Garrick claimed the ground floor as his own. Janelle knew she would need supplies, so she rode Garrick down to the village at the bottom of the valley. The townsfolk were wary at first, but when a desperate father begged her to heal his sick child, Janelle agreed. Using her healing magic and the dragon tooth, she cured the boy in moments. Word spread quickly, and soon a dozen more parents came forward, all with children suffering from the same illness. Janelle healed every one of them, and the town was overwhelmed with gratitude. The mayor and the shopkeeper offered her supplies, and the townspeople donated a wagon full of goods to help her settle into her new home. But Janelle had discovered something troubling. All the sick children attended the same school, and none of the adults had fallen ill. She investigated and found a cursed totem hidden under a desk. The totem was designed to make children sick, and Janelle knew she had to destroy it. She took it with her, powered it down with a spell, and planned to study Marguerite's book to find a way to destroy it safely. When she returned to the house with the wagon full of supplies, she found a young man waiting for her. His name was Angus Bradson, and he claimed the house was his. His uncle had built it years ago, and Angus had inherited it. At first, Janelle was defensive. But when Angus learned she was the witch who had healed all the children in the village, his attitude softened. He had witnessed the miracle himself, as his niece had been one of the children she saved. Janelle explained that she was fleeing the royal army and had nowhere else to go. Angus, a fair and practical man, offered a compromise. There were plenty of rooms in the house, and if Janelle would do the cooking, he would handle the hunting and chores. Janelle agreed, though she warned him that Garrick had claimed the living room as his own. Angus, overwhelmed by the sight of the enormous wolf and the mention that a dragon was nesting nearby, realized his life had just become far more interesting. That evening Ruki returned with fresh meat, and Janelle began to prepare a meal for her new roommate. She knew that this was only the beginning of her new life. She had escaped the soldiers, found a home, and made allies who would protect her. But she also knew that the threat was not gone. The totem needed to be destroyed, and the royal army might still come looking for her. For now, however, she was safe, and she had a wolf at her side, a dragon in the sky, and a new companion who was willing to share his home. Janelle had lost her mother and her mentor, but she had gained a family of her own choosing, and she was determined to protect it with everything she had.